Lumley, Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right today. I've got with me Paul Anderson, my friend Paul Anderson. How you doing, mate?
Very good, Lee. How are you?
Yeah, good. So it's been a little while since you've been on, but you're going to come on and we're going to talk about a new release that came out today, Ronnie Atkins' One Shot album. So I've been waiting for this for quite a while. A couple of singles have been released already. We're going to do a review together. So on Frontiers, no surprise there, released on Frontiers Records, produced by Chris Laney, who's actually in Pretty Maids. He's the guitarist in Pretty Maids and he's producing the album as well. I think he might do the Pretty Maids stuff as well. I'm not 100% sure. Mixed by someone called Jacob Hansen. Now, most people will know who Ronnie Atkins is, but if you don't, Pretty Maids is his main band. He's also done some stuff with Nordic Union with Eric Martinson, and been going since, well, I think Pretty Maids album, the first one came out, must have been mid-80s, maybe just before. So it's been around a long time. And if anyone doesn't know, he's fallen seriously ill with cancer and basically stage 4 cancer. Really sad, but he's decided after all these years, he's always wanted to do a solo album, and he's put a solo album out, and it's come out today. So impressions of the album for me, I'm going to give my impressions, then we're going to run through. I don't know what Paul thinks of this album at all, by the way. We both don't know what each other thinks of the album, and we're going to just run through it track by track. I'm going to give you my initial thoughts at the beginning, and Paul's going to give his final thoughts at the end. So my thoughts on the album are, it's a great album. It's a great sounding album. It's, compared to Pretty Maids, it's more melodic. I'm really impressed, actually. I mean, I've got some real favorites, some not so much, but for me, there's not one real weak track. I think it's all very melodic, just the sort of stuff I like. I love Ronnie Atkins' voice anyway. He's got sort of two sides to his voice. He's got his softer side. Then when he reaches a bit, he goes a bit rougher. I've always loved that about his voice. And I was thinking about this, and I put this on a post today. If Def Leppard, and look, Def Leppard, I'm not being funny, for me, they haven't made a good album since, I don't know, Hysteria probably. You know, Pyromania was brilliant and High and Dry, but Hysteria was still good. But they haven't made a consistent album for years, and some of this reminded me a little bit of Def Leppard, that sort of real melodic stuff with lovely harmonizing backing vocals and really catchy stuff. If Def Leppard brought this album out today, I think the fans would be falling over themselves with joy if Def Leppard did an album like this. I honestly do. I think it's great. He's always had a little bit of Def Leppard influence in his music, just to let you know, Paul, if you're not sure. Even in Pretty Maids, some of the older stuff sounded quite, and on this to me, I can hear some influences there. But I think it's better than anything Def Leppard had done for, well, since Hysteria, really, late 80s, I reckon. But that's just my opinion, obviously. Probably a lot of Def Leppard fans now going mental, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know quality when I hear it, and I think it's a great album.
Def Leppard's still great live.
Yeah, I saw
them.
Yeah, I saw them play Hysteria in full at Download Festival a couple of years ago, and it was great. It was absolutely great. It was brilliant. Yeah, but as far as studio records are concerned, they haven't hit anything like they used to, in my opinion. Obviously, this is all opinions as normal. So we're going to run through it track by track. There's 11 tracks to talk about, and yeah, we're going to give an opinion basically on the tracks. So kicking off the album, the first single that was released, Real. So I like this. It's very catchy. I'd say I did write my notes, very accessible. You know, anyone could listen to this and say, you know, if it came on in the car, on the radio or something, I don't think you could say you didn't like the sound of it. It's very commercial, if you like. I don't like saying commercial too much, but melodic commercial. A bit of a surprising opener for me, because it's quite mellow. you know, I think there could have been something else opening the album. I'm not saying it's a bad track, but it's a surprising opener for me. Nice little use of keyboards like there is all work through this album, especially in the chorus, making it really catchy as well. To tell you the truth, I like it, and I like every song on this album, but it's not one of my favourites. So we're going to give a score as well. Do you want me to give my score now on that song, mate, or do we want to? Do you want to say what you? I gave it a 6.5. Remember, I'm a bit hard these days on scores, so I gave it a 6.5, and that's quite a good score because I'm being a little bit stingy these days. But a good track, but probably one of my least favourites on the actual album.
Wow. Well, this one we're going to be maybe polar opposites on. This was my favorite track on the album.
Oh, there you go.
I actually fell in love with this track from the very first listen. I love the melodic sound of it. I do agree with you that it probably would have been better to have maybe a track like the next track, Scorpio. We're going to talk about it a bit, but that was a little bit heavier. It might have been a better start to the album. I can kind of agree with you there. But I don't know. There's something about the vocal harmonies on this song that just caught on right away from first listen.
Yeah.
You know, the very first song I heard, well, we'll go to it later on, was the title track, but you know, and then I heard this one, I was like, wow, I love this song. Love the lyrics. I'm going to probably talk a little bit more as we go through, but the whole thing that he's going through right now, I mean, I found this whole album.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of the lyrical content is just about, you know, making every day count. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And because we only have one shot. No pun intended, right? Yeah. So, yeah, great lyrics. Love the vocal harmonies. As I fell in love with this track, I gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, I love this song, by the way. It's just that I like a lot of the other songs.
You have a strange way of showing it with that 6.5.
It's just my scoring, I suppose. I don't know what, you know. I feel like I've got to have a range, because if I score something too high and it's my least favourite, then I've got a real short, you know what I mean? It's like, if I like that song, so if I gave it an 8, and then what scope have I got? I've got none, have I? I'm going to be like...
I do see what you're talking about. I'm new to this whole scoring individual songs.
That's my thinking behind it. It's probably ridiculous, but that's my thinking. As we move on to the second track. And you're completely right. Turn these tracks around, it would have been a perfect opener, I think. There's a cool groove to this, really catchy again, and I was going to repeat myself, and I might as well just say the whole album's catchy, because it is. I love there's some heavy riffs in this that only come in very occasionally, but when they do, it seems extra heavy because the song's so melodic. And then when them heavy riffs come in, it's just like real dang, you know, like, well, I think they stand out even more because of the melodic nature of the song. It's a real sort of summer song, like fun to listen to. Again, nice use of keyboards. They're quite prominent in this song as well. We notice the keyboards are quite up in the mixing parts of this song. I really like this song. I gave it a 7.5, this one.
Yeah, this song I also liked it very much. I didn't like it as much first listen, because I listened to the title track and Real and kind of just fall in love with those two tracks. And then when this song came out, I was like, I don't know if I like it as much or whatever. But as the more I listened to it, I gave it an 8.5, and I absolutely, one of the best parts of the song is right at the very beginning, the galloping drum fills. Like it's just it was just like this really cool sounding drum fills he did.
It is it's a great mix on this album.
Yeah, you know, definitely the heaviest track of the first 3 singles, and possibly of the whole album.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, it's a great track.
Great song.
Very.
But I gave it 8.5.
Yeah, it's a good score. I mean, there's that's quite Pretty Made sounding to me. Some of that song. Pretty Maids are quite a bit heavier than this sometimes, but they do slow it down as well. But this is a lot more melodic than Premates, in my opinion. So the next one, I absolutely love this song, man. I love it from the, and when you said about with what's happening with Ronnie at the moment. One shot, one life, one chance. This one really like tugs at your heartstrings, this one. So lovely sort of piano and his voice over the top of it at the beginning. I love his voice. Powerful, emotional. The chorus is just amazing. And again, brilliant use of keyboards. And I'm not a massive keyboard fan, but I think in this album, they're just used the right way. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Well, I guess we agree on this one. I gave it 9 as well. For me, just, yeah, very emotional track. Obviously, he's just reflecting on his cancer situation. You can really sense that lyrically as well as just emotionally in general. But specifically the lyrics, I mean, the whole album is entitled One Shot. It's like one shot, one life.
Yeah.
You know, we got to do it right. You know what I mean? And, you know, we got to do the best with everything we're given and live every moment like it's our last. Yeah. And man, I'm so impressed with this song.
Yeah, that's a brilliant song, man. So you gave that a 9 as well, yeah?
I did, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so track 4, Subjugated, sorry. I like the feel to this. It's got a lot of catchy hooks, but at the same time, it's a slightly, and it's only slight, psychedelic sort of feel to parts of the song. Nice chorus again with some great backing vocals, man. I mean, I spoke about Def Leppard a little bit, and they had the best backing vocals you know what I mean, ever really. And you know, Ronnie's got some great backing vocals on this. Lovely little solo as well. Big shout out to the guitarist. Really, when he does a solo, it's not all about speed, it's about melody as well. But this, I sort of rated the same as, and remember, you probably think I'm saying all these good things about it. It's a 6.5 for me, the same as Real. So I like it, but it's one of the weaker tracks for me.
Yeah, I gave this a 7.5. I didn't put a lot of notes on it. I thought it was a solid rocker. I did like the guitar solo in it.
Yeah.
Actually, something I could say, there's a few songs that the guitar solo I really liked. One thing, if there was one thing I thought was a little lacking in this one, I'm kind of, you know, me being a big Striper fan, a big Michael Sweet fan, it's like I'm used to those nice long guitar solos. This album didn't have any really super long guitar solos. They were more little short little interludes.
Yeah.
So that would have been the only thing, if there was anything lacking for me, that would have been it. But they were still excellent solos, just a little shorter, that's all. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a good song. It was kind of lyrically, it kind of had a bit of an angry feel to it, like you know, don't mess with me type thing. I'm not going to be subjugated, as he said. So
yeah, it's a good track, man. So track 5, Frequency of Love. I like this song. Again, I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but very catchy, the chorus especially. And I love that. Sometimes choruses are lacking these days in music. And sometimes the build up to a chorus is better than the choruses, you know, in a lot of music these days. But the choruses are great on this album. This is very AOR, sort of very melodic. Another song you could just imagine hearing on the radio. A lot of these songs could be released as singles. That's what I was thinking. This one sounds like a single. This one sounds like a single. I really liked it. I gave it a 7. A 7 out of 10, this one, Frequency of Love.
Yeah. I didn't put any notes on this one. I do remember it was a great song. Like you said, just a good, solid, I kind of agree. Yeah, the AOR style, very melodic. It was excellent. I give it an 8. Yeah, it's a great song.
Yep. Right, I'll move on to one of my favourites on the album now. So, Before the Rise of an Empire. So, I love this. I think it's a highlight for me. Lovely riff kicking it off, almost John Sykes, Whitesnakey sort of riff kicking it off. Love it when Ronnie's voice goes from that clean to raspy sort of style he's got. Again, the backing vocals are amazing. It's almost a little bit less commercial, this one. And it's like I've listened to this album twice now today. And it's like this song has got them hidden melodies that are not right in your face from the beginning. You know, when you first heard Real, like you said, and it was straight away, it's catchy as anything. This one is like it feels like it was growing the more I was listening to the song. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. This one, you're right. Very, I just put another heavy track. It was definitely one of the heavier ones on the album. Great guitar solo once again. Yeah, really catchy song. I gave it 8.5.
That's a great song, man. Okay, so number 7, track 7, Miles Away. Again, almost a ballad, this one. It's sort of Virgin, a ballad sort of thing. Soaring chorus, as like the album's full of them. It's sort of like Ronnie's voice is riding along those verses so beautifully, and with that clean guitar, you know, and then the electric guitar coming in later. I love this song. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna get a little laugh out of this one, Lee. For anyone on the channel, if you happen to be subscribing to another certain channel, you're going to see a show coming up. I don't know. I'm guessing probably within the next few weeks, where Lee and I were featured. And it was with the guys over on Striper Drive. And we had a little laugh about this. I thought this was a power ballad, Lee.
Yeah.
At first. So all you guys will get to understand the joke when you do watch that episode. I strongly suggest you do watch it when it comes out, because you will get it was a pretty hilarious episode.
It was.
But yeah, so I thought this was a power ballad at first, but then I thought maybe a little too much power and a little too little ballad.
Yeah, it's definitely on the verge, but I think where this album's so melodic, a lot of these songs are on that verge of being a ballad, you know, but they just cross the threshold of not being, I suppose. Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously there's real standout ballads, isn't there? Like One Shot, that's a ballad, and you know, even though it's got a lot of power in it, it's still.
Yeah, I guess you could be right there. It was probably a little bit more ballady than even this one was, but
yeah, definitely.
I gave it a 7.5 though, just very solid tune. Loved it.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so the next one. Now this has come out as a single today, I think. I think he's released this as the fourth release. Yeah, I haven't actually watched the video or anything. This again, for me, even though I like it, it's one of my least favourites. So it's got a very similar feel to me to Real, that acoustic guitar running through the song. A very radio friendly, you know, song. And I could have pictured a lot of these songs being on the radio, like I said, loads of catchy hooks. But I've given it a 6.5, this one.
Yeah, I gave this one a 7. In my notes here, I put when I listen to this song, the lyrics get me thinking of a world without COVID. But then I come back to reality and realize that this is probably the new normal. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It was definitely one of the weaker tracks in the album. I had it. I gave it a 7, and actually 7 is the lowest I gave any track on this album. So this is kind of tied for another one for last. But
6.5 is my lowest. I haven't given anything below that. But it's so funny, isn't it? How it's been released as a single. But, you know, obviously a lot of people do like it and think it'll be a good single, but not everyone, I suppose. But right, the next one is another highlight for me. So I prophesize. I love the heavy riffing in this one, sort of coming in and out of the song. A big feel to it, quite an epic feel to this. there's a bit of twin lead in this as well, and everyone knows how I love twin lead guitar. It could have been a doubled guitar effect. I'm not 100% sure. It's another one that's not immediate, but it just grows and grows, and it's got that feel to it where it's already turning into a classic for me. So I've given that a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's another one I didn't put any real notes on, but I definitely did like the song. I gave it an 8. The whole album is just so catchy.
I know. It is a great album, man. It is a great, great album. Then we're moving on to the second to last track, One by One. What a riff kick in this one off, a real classic sort of metal riff kick in this one, almost like 70s-esque sort of slight sounds to this. I mean, most of it is an 80s sort of sound with a modern twist, if you like, but this almost have a sort of 70s sort of feel to it. Very catchy again. I might as well just put catchy all over this, but I'll give it a 7, this one.
Yeah, another great tune. I scored it higher again. I gave it 8.5, which I guess tied it with Scorpio and Before the Rise of an Empire. Love the message of this song as well. When things on the downside, get up and rebuild one by one, brick by brick. It's a good positive message. I mean, so many people, I think right now, especially in the times we're in, a lot of people are experiencing depression and just overall angst and fear, and a lot of people are slipping by the wayside. So, I think when a song like this comes around and just gives that positive message to, no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to live, a reason to fight, a reason to rebuild. So I gave it an 8.5.
Nice. I think the album closes off quite strong. It's the last track, When Dreams Are Not Enough. Now, I spoke about, Def Leppard a little bit in this review. This has the most, for me, Def Leppard-esque sort of sounds to it, especially the chorus. Lovely groove to the song. A really good closer, in my opinion. I'll give it a 7.5.
And so I've listened to a lot of these songs over and over today. I think though, being the last song on the album, this one I've listened to the least, just because it was the last song. So I didn't really put any notes on this one either, but I gave it a 7. I didn't find it my strongest personally, but then again, obviously some of our scores probably for both of us will change as you listen more and more.
I mean, it's I've found it. I've got Spotify, and I've got a 2021 playlist. So everything that I've liked has gone so far this year has gone on that playlist, and it's really interesting to hear it on a shuffle in my car because I suppose it's about 10 or 11 albums in there now so far this year. And it's funny how albums are shifting for me. Some are going up, some are coming down. The more I listen to them. So it'd be interesting with this one to find out where it ends up at the end of the year. It's all for my ranking at the end of the year. That's why I've got them all on this playlist, just so I can rank the albums at the end of the year. It's funny how it's all shifting around. But I mean, this is most of this album is very immediate, isn't it? It's very catchy. It's very melodic straight away. The first listen, most of it, great album. So what's your final thoughts on the album then, mate?
Yeah, no, just very solid album. Absolutely love the production. I thought the drumming, as I said, was fantastic. Guitar solos were great as well. I mentioned already I would prefer some longer solo breaks, but I mean, that's just me. And yeah, I got to thank you because I never even knew who Ronnie Atkins was until seeing your first reaction to One Shot. And I instantly fell in love with all 3 of those singles, and put them on my Spotify rotation, right? Absolutely fell in love with them. Just great. After that, I did go back and listen to some of the Pretty Maids, and also Nordic Union. I found what I have heard of Nordic Union sounds a lot more like this.
Yeah.
Very similar stylings, and his vocals are very similar. I can't say I was as big a fan with the Pretty Made stuff. It sounded a bit different to me. Maybe I just need more time with it, but and obviously some were better than others, but yeah, I mean, I can't thank you enough for introducing me to Ronnie Atkins, though, because you know, I'm really, really hoping. I know that he's got stage 4, which we all know is, you know, barring a miracle, is definitely terminal. I really hope it doesn't win too soon. I'd love to see him be able to put a second solo album out, because that's really, everyone out there, and if you do yourself a favor, pick up this album, put it on your Spotify, whatever it is, however you listen to music, it's just a really, if you like good, solid, melodic, hard rock, you know, it's kind of got a bit of an 80s vibe, but even a little bit more modern edge to it. I mean, you just can't go wrong with this album. I mean,
so brilliant album. But we're gonna, obviously we've been scoring the tracks all along. So what we do is we add the scores up, divide by the number of tracks, which is 11. It gives us an overall score. What did your score come out as, mate? Out of 10?
8.09.
That's good. See, that's a good, really good score for that. I'll come up with 7.59 for me. So highly rated, man. I mean, and I'm a stingy bastard. So 7.59 is a really good score. I'm really impressed with this album. And to tell you the truth, I like the Pretty Made stuff, but this is more accessible for me than the recent Pretty Made stuff. And I was a big, huge fan in the 80s of Pretty Made, and I love them albums more than this. There's a couple that are just fantastic, but this is better for me for anything that he's put out with Pretty Made for the last few years. It's just so catchy, so, like, you know, I think anyone would like this. You can't deny the melody in it. It just appealed to so many people. I think it's a great album. He's done himself proud, and, you know, like you said, hopefully he might just be thinking, you know what, I just want to make loads of music now. You know what I mean? I put as much out as I can, hopefully.
Yeah.
But no, a great album, and I'm really hope that it does well as well. I know that the music industry these days is just so different, you know, but I hope it sells well. I hope it goes up the charts. He probably doesn't really care about the money so much, but, you know, getting the revenue in, but to see it go up the charts and do well, I hope it really does. I really do. Right, any final thoughts, mate?
Yeah, not really. I mean, just as I said, just a great album altogether.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're fortunate enough to see another one from him.
Highly recommended from both of us, this album. So everyone, check it out. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the album. If you've heard it, if you're going to get it, let us know.
And let me be the first to say that, you know, to congratulate Lee in person again on his first 1,000 subs. And I'm putting out a personal challenge to everybody here to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's get that YouTube algorithm rolling, because we're going to take this channel to 1 million subs.
Yeah, I might be able to leave work.
Only 1,000 decks. It's only 999 more of what you got now.
Thanks,
we
man.
can do it.
Thanks for the plug.